which college did you attend, and what was your major?
I attended 3 Idaho colleges. I started at the College of Southern Idaho, then I got my bachelor's degree at Boise State and my master's degree at the College of Idaho. My major was social studies, education, and special education.
I attended Boise State University and I majored in biology, secondary education emphasis.
I attended a year at University of Idaho and then took a year off and then finished at Northwest Nazarene College. And my major at U of I was interior design, architecture, and then I switched to family and consumer science education.
I went to Boise State University and I majored in mathematics with an emphasis in education.
I attended Boise State University and I majored in secondary math education.
I went to Idaho State University and my major for my undergrad was sports medicine, and then my master's was in athletic training.
I attended Boise State University. My first degree was in history, and then I got my master's degree in curriculum and instruction.
I went to U of I the first time, architecture degree, then came back to Boise. I did BSU for my art degree, my teaching degree, and then a master's in curriculum and instruction from Lesley University.
Why did you choose to attend those colleges?
Well, honestly, my favorite of all of them was College of Southern Idaho, and I chose that school because I didn't have a lot of support in my school choices and no one was pushing me to go anywhere, and it was, I'm from that area, so it was just right there. But it ended up being my favorite school because it was small, it was very supportive, it was like a little bigger than my high school, but it felt like a real college campus and I could interact with my teachers a lot, and the classes weren't really big and I feel like they knew me there.
Money. They gave me the most scholarship opportunities.
I applied to Boise State and the University of Idaho, and my decision was whoever gave me the most money was where I was going to go and what I was going to do.
I chose to go to Boise State because I made the mainline dance team and I wanted to keep dancing in college, and Boise State was the perfect fit, and I got to dance and go to school for free.
So I looked at Idaho State because it was still in the state. I got in-state tuition, but it's only 3 hours away, so I could get home in a weekend to come see family, and it's a really beautiful campus as well.
I chose to attend BSU because I was living in Boise at the time. I had established kind of a residency at home, and it was affordable for me to stay there, and it offered everything I wanted.
My sister was going there, so I knew of it. They paid me some money to go there, which was nice. And I looked at a couple others, Utah, one in Colorado, and I just didn't like their campuses. So I actually just went with gut feel.
What did you like best about your college?
A school like that versus Boise State, one of the best things really was parking. Like, it was so easy to get to classes and I didn't have to pay for parking.
The atmosphere, it was very laid back. I'm a big sports fan, so they had good football and basketball while I was going there. And I enjoyed the program that I was in. They had a really good science department.
I really liked NNC because it was a smaller school. I felt a more connection with my professors. I didn't have 400 people in a class. I actually made those connections, and it made a big difference in my success.
I liked the university specifically. I liked that the math department was difficult.
My favorite thing about Boise State is how beautiful the campus is and how great the facilities are. I absolutely love walking through campus and all of the different things that there are to do on campus, and it's just a great atmosphere for students to learn but also feel engaged in the university and like you're part of a really great Bronco community.
It was smaller class sizes. When I went to Boise State, chemistry was over 400 people. When I went at Idaho State, it was only 150 people. And then in my master's, there was only 4 of us. So it was a very centralized education, and I felt like I could succeed better there.
I really liked my professors. I liked the classes that I was taking. I liked the camaraderie I had with the other students. I liked the affordability and the fact that I could, while going to college, I could still have a job and work to help pay for it.
Idaho, I love the campus. I love the camaraderie. My teachers were fantastic and supportive.
How would you describe your experiences there?
Just very supported. Like, I had the same teachers several times while I was there, and they knew me, and I didn't feel like I just kind of got lost in a big group of people. And
NNC was phenomenal. I made such inroads with those individuals. I just loved my experience in college.
It was fun.
I freaking loved Boise State. If I had my way, everyone would just go to Boise State because it's the best school in the entire world. Boise State was everything I could have ever wanted. I was able to get my degree at a really, really low cost because I stayed in state, and just phenomenal professors, phenomenal opportunities. And I wasn't too far from my family, which was nice. I still got to see them only when I wanted to.
It was a positive experience. It wasn't a traditional college experience. When I went to Boise State, I was a little older than right out of high school. I had taken some time off before and lived some life. But when I came back and decided to go to college at Boise State, it was not the traditional living in a fraternity, going out and partying and stuff. It was very directed and academic.
This was a whirlwind. Got some great friends from there that I still have. It was a 5-year college, architecture, so that 5 years was just a ball. I had a great time, learned a ton, not only about architecture, but about myself and ongoing education and other people. Yeah, great experience.
For students who are trying to decide between going to an Idaho college or an out-of-state college, what advice would you give them?
You're gonna have to talk to your family, and if you're gonna go out of state, it's something you need to know sooner, and it's not something to decide last minute, because it does take a lot of work to plan and save and know financials, and you're really, to make it affordable, if your parents don't have money, you're gonna have to have really good grades and test scores to make that feasible for you. So the sooner you can start on that process, the better. Idaho schools, we have great schools in Idaho.
Pick something that best fits. If there's a program that's in-state that will save you some money, go in-state. If you can't find a program that you like, or you can't find a school that you like in-state, check out of state. And then if you have the grades or the scholarships available to you to go out of state, go out of state. So that's my best advice: is let it fit, let it come to you.
Mainly, I think you really need to think about finances. That's the big thing. But if finances are not an issue, you really want to go where you have a program that you can fall in love with the school, fall in love with your program, and then go from there. That's the most important thing, because if you have a good program, they have a good reputation, you'll do fine in college.
My advice is always be at minimum 2 hours away from home, because you cannot get that experience of being on your own, of having that, if you can run home and have dinner. And that gives you that freedom experience.
My advice would be to think about what you want to do after college and kind of make a decision that's going to support that. But I think you have to think about what you want to do next. So you just have to really think through that and really think about how much debt do you want to have versus how much money are you planning to make afterward. And I think for most of us, we probably would like to not have debt. And there's some great options here in Idaho that you should really look at pursuing before you go rack up all this debt out of state.
I always try to tell my kids, especially with health sciences, or if you plan on going into a master's or a doctorate and you know you are, try to pick an in-state school for your first 4 years. It's always cheaper that way. And then if you choose to do something else, you're not out a ton of money. So whether it's Boise State, U of I, or ISU, or C of I, or wherever else, it's a little bit cheaper than trying to go out of state. And then that way, when you do that, you're not spending as much later on. Even though it may not be your long-term plan, it's really nice to save some money and maybe not have as much student loans.
I would weigh out the pros and cons of each. The pros of going to an in-state college is affordability and having a built-in friendship with people if you're staying in the same city. You have a lot of close connections with your family and familiarity. I would also encourage going to an out-of-state college because that's where you grow up. You can't always just run home to mom and dad when you run out of laundry, soap, or you need some food. So it kind of makes you grow up. But if the affordability and not going into debt is a major issue, I would definitely look at staying in Idaho and going to a local school.
I think you go visit some and you'll get a feel, just like I did. I was lucky enough that my parents drove us around every once in a while, and I'd go down there and check that out, the other schools. And really the gut feeling was like, yeah, I want to be at Idaho. One thing that I would change, though, I believe, is I think I would go to a 2-year college first, save up some money, decide what I want to do, and then go to a university and transfer all those credits up to a university at that point.